Stoddard County Farm Bureau. I'd like to welcome y'all for coming tonight. Got a real good turnout. And now I'd like to turn it over to Gilbert Woolard as the moderator.
She wants me to get nervous, but someone told me earlier, why should I be nervous? We have a lot of other people here to speak. It is a pleasure to see you folks come out and showing interest. And as Edwina said, you are welcome in every way. All right. I would like to pray first, if that's all right with everybody. Dear Lord, we're thankful for this time that we can come and be together. And Lord, we just pray that your presence and your grace would be with us, Lord. Lord, I pray for leaders for this nation, that we have a continuing great nation in this country. Father, just lead, guide, and direct, and bless each one that has come this way, Lord. These things I ask in Christ's name. Amen. Amen. Okay, it looks like for the rules that we will go by, we'll have on your opening statements, you'll have 3 minutes. And then there'll be questions and answer session for 5 minutes. And the closing comments will be for 2 minutes. Now, what we've decided to do a little different from last year is we're going to have, like if we have the Senate candidates at one time, we'll go through all 3 of these at that time instead of waiting until the end and going back through. Is that okay? And another thing, Mr. Pope has got to be at a meeting in Columbia, Jeff City, so he will be first. He will go first, and I'll just ask you to come right at this time.
Before I do get on the clock, I do want to apologize. This is a mandatory meeting at the corner, the deputy corner. It's mandated by the state and also by the county each year that we have our continuing education and continuing hours that we should do. So you can put me on the clock now. Good afternoon. My name is Kenny Pope, and I am running for Stoddard County Coroner. To begin, I would like to share a little information about myself and my family. I would also like to go in depth with my qualifications for the role as Stoddard County Coroner, and to include some educational background, and also to include that I have been the deputy coroner and do have the experience. First of all, I know Stoddard County, the geography, the people, and the quality of service that you expect. I'm currently serving as Stoddard County Coroner, Stoddard County Deputy Coroner, and have 10 years of experience at this job. There's no substitution for experience. To gain a good understanding and to what the coroner is required to do. I've also built a good working relationship with all Stoddard County emergency agencies. On-the-job experience and establishing credibility are essential qualifications in serving as the Stoddard County Coroner. Many of you may wonder what the County Coroner actually does. The County Coroner is an important but often overlooked position. The responsibilities are enormous, especially to relatives to those who died from suspected homicides, suicides, or accidents. The coroner's role within the county is to investigate and respond to death that do not occur within a licensed hospital, a long-term facility, or under the care of a hospice agency. It is important that the coroner responds to all calls, even those suspected to be of a natural death. In some cases, an autopsy may be ordered by the coroner's office. As a rule, the autopsy is normally conducted within 24 to 36 hours after the death occurs, giving law enforcement officials time to gather information for the medical examiner. When it comes to a death investigation, nothing should ever be assumed. Training and experience are guides to steps to a fatality investigation. Training and experience is also what I have as the deputy coroner, and it will allow me to develop a good working relationship with an extensive database of law enforcement officials and other experts within the death investigation community. When I am elected, I will continue working well with the Stoddard County law enforcement officials and the emergency service. The coroner's position is not unlike any other of this elected official's positions. Voters are not electing a Republican or a Democrat, but electing someone that can and will speak up for those that cannot no longer speak on behalf of themselves. Again, I'm a lifelong resident of this county. I know Stoddard County. I have 10 years of combined experience in working with the Stoddard County coroners. I have access to coroner supplies that are required. Keeping all these components in mind, I am qualified and experienced for the position of Stoddard County coroner. Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce the man running against Mr. Pope, Darrell. Henry, I'm sorry. Is he here?
No.
Okay. Do you want to add some closing comments and all, Mr. Pope? You questions you can ask?
I can take any questions.
I would be more glad to take any questions if someone has a question. No?
Okay, at this time, we would like to start candidates for the state senate race. So, Terry Swinger's name is on here first. Mr. Swinger.
Thank you, Mr. Willard. I appreciate it. And my name is Terry Swinger, and I'm running for state senate, and I just love to have your votes. I was born here in Stoddard County and born at home down in Frisco, and then my dad bought a farm, a 160-acre farm out of Bloomfield. Actually, I went by there today to look at the old home place. It was a nostalgic moment, and I really did appreciate it. We had mostly a row crop, but we had a few animals, a few pigs, a few horses, had a lot of dogs. We rabbit hunted quite a bit. And my dad started a business. We had Swinger Seed Service down in Frisco, and my dad included us. We were able to help figure out bills and present those bills. And so we learned a lot about the business side of it, and I think that's helped me in my 47 years of optometric practice. We had 3 small businesses, 3 small offices, Portisville, Kennett, Crothersville, and I've been a small business owner essentially all my life. And I think one of the ingredients to this terrible situation we're facing of not having the jobs that we need is we need to push entrepreneurship and let people work on creating businesses of their own. We look right up here at Advance, and they've created 11 new businesses within the last year. So entrepreneurship is something that I really feel that we should really talk about. We had a lot of disasters in the last few years. We had a terrible tornado in 06, ice storm in 9, flood in 11, the drought this past year, and public safety issues have become really important to me. And I learned during that time that it's extremely helpful, beneficial to work together, to work for compromise as opposed to confrontation. And that's what I've done in my years of public service, is work for the public good, check partisanship at the door, and worked across the aisle to get along with everybody. You know, we have the port there in Crothersville, and we have just seen come to fruition the three things of rail, highway, and river. We have the Marquise oil distributor plant there now. It's been a lot of activity. They have put in a lot of, we got our first rail cars in. These tanker cars came in, and we're seeing a lot of activity there. They're getting ready to double the cargo going through the Panama Canal. So I think that's another way that we'll be able to increase jobs in the area. Thank you.
Mr. Swinger,
Yes.
if we could get the right to work laws passed in Missouri, I think that would help our unemployment rate considerably. Would you support getting either statewide right to work or county by county?
Well, if I'm elected your state senator, I will vote the will of my constituents, and the will of my constituency is right to work. I don't think that it'll come to a vote statewide. There has been no evidence of that. It doesn't seem like that is something, you know, it was voted on statewide by the public over 40 years ago. It didn't pass, and it's talked about a lot, but it does not come up. So possibly a regional way of approaching it would be the way to maybe consider approaching it. If there's no other questions, I'd like to share with you. I told you I grew up on a farm, and my brother's about 5 years older than I am. And I learned how to drive a tractor, a little Ford tractor, when I was about 7 years old. And I was out there chopping cotton one day, and my brother was driving the tractor, and he was cultivating, coming, behind. About 10 of us were chopping cotton. And so I ran over there and I said, hey, Bill, why don't you come over here and chop cotton and let me drive the tractor? And he said, in a little bit. So I ran over there. Well, I thought it was a little bit, and I said, is it time? And he said, no, wait, just a little bit longer. So I waited a little bit longer, and I went over again, and he said, won't be long now. I looked over there, and he was motioning for me, and I dropped my hoe, and I ran over as fast as I could. He was off the tractor. I jumped on there, I started driving. Man, I was happy, and they chopped maybe as far as from here to that wall down there, and they turned and went to the house. It took me 3 hours to catch up with where they've been. So I learned then that you not only need to work hard, you need to learn how the process works. And I think in my years of service, of public service, that I've worked on that issue, and that's why I do have the endorsement of Missouri Right to Life, because of the way I vote. I'm the candidate that has the endorsement of the National Rifle Association, and in the 4 times I've been eligible to receive the Friend of Agriculture Award from Farm Bureau, I've received it, and the other night I received the endorsement of Missouri Farm Bureau. And I'm very proud of that, and I just want to continue serving. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Swinger. Now, Mr. Van Dyken.
Thanks, everybody. It's an honor and privilege to be here. I'm going to be sounding like somewhere between the Budweiser frog and a mouse here tonight. I got an allergy attack going on, so I don't sound like this all the time, but I'm going to try to get through it the best I can. Again, it is an honor to be here. I just want to let you know my lovely wife is with me tonight. Elaine, she's right there. We'll soon be married 40 years. She's sitting right over there. We have 1 daughter and 2 little grandsons and a great son-in-law. Just got back from Afghanistan last year. But Doug, I'll tell you what I'm about. I'm about creating jobs and opportunities for our young folks. And when you start talking about jobs, there are those that talk a lot about job creation without ever doing so. Job creation is very complex and requires a specific atmosphere that inspires individuals and companies to take a risk. And we must have a well-educated workforce with easily obtained job skill training. A good example of that is right here at Three Rivers here in Dexter. You know, we're teaching the diesel mechanics down here and other subjects. I'm all about teaching people how to make a living, and job skill training is very important. Not everybody was cut out to go for a 4-year college or 6 years or 8 years or whatever they're going to. But I'm real big on getting everybody out here a good opportunity for a family-sustaining job, good paying jobs. And our state and communities, they need to be business-friendly and helpful. You know, not full of red tape and unnecessary regulation. Personally, I've been in business 41 years, in this past June. I am now retired, and retired back in February, and I'm looking forward to doing public service full-time. A couple things I want to mention really quick when I talk about regulations. Number one, economic development has been reported that Missouri now is 50th in job growth, and also 48th in the USA over the last 10 years. And last year we lost more jobs than all the neighboring states. And it's also one of the easiest to be sued in here in Missouri. So there's a lot of work we need to do to create an atmosphere for people and companies to want to come and invest in our communities. I've been endorsed with the National Federation of Independent Businesses and Missourians for Growth, and I really look forward to continue my business acumen and getting some job growth and economic development done here in our area, 25th District. And it can be done. We have lots of, how many seconds was that? 30 seconds, all right. Even my eyes are watering. May have to throw a balloon up or something. But anyway, I really would appreciate your support very much in these endeavors. And I want to add one other thing really quick. You know, we talk about regulation stuff just really quick. In the U.S. Constitution, or in Gettysburg Address, there's 286 words. The Declaration of Independence, 1,300. In the U.S. Constitution, the 27 amendments, there's 7,818 words. Just to sell produce or cabbage here in the United States, it takes 22,911 words to raise and sell cabbage. So if I don't tell you why we're overregulated, I don't know what else can. So I'm ready for questions. If nobody's got any questions, I'll look today. Somebody raise a hand.
In your opinion, what is the most important ag issues we face today?
Regulations, high fuel costs, high seed costs, high fertilizer costs.
What was the question? I couldn't hear.
What's the most important ag issues we face today?
Okay, what I just mentioned there, high fuel costs, high seed costs, we got the death tax coming up on family farms. That'll probably move to 55% next year. They say the best time to have died would have been last year if you're trying to pass a farm down to your kids or relatives. You could have done it last year and you wouldn't have been the state tax. This year I think it's 35% and $5 million exemption. Next year, from what I understand, it's supposed to go to 55% the $1 million exemption. I could be off on those numbers right there, but I just know that it's going up, and that's going to affect our family farms a lot in order to pass it down from generation to generation. I learned how to drive a truck actually when I worked at my dad's old store up here in Greenville, Missouri, and it's really a shame that, and I am sure that a lot of folks here in this room learned how to do things from your parents or your uncle and working around in some different businesses and stuff. But they're getting it to where young folks just can't learn anymore on the job training hardly. So we need to be very aware of that and do what we can to keep that open for young folks to be able to step right in and learn how to do some skills and have some skills to contribute. I did mention earlier I retired in February this past year, and my brother and I have owned Mid-Continental over at Poplar Bluff for many, many years, and I'm proud to say that just since my retirement full-time in February, we've added over 100 jobs just since February. We are now over 500 jobs over at Poplar Bluff, and we have people that drive from everywhere in southeast Missouri to work over there. And I'll just be the first to tell you, we have some great and talented workers over there, and they're the reason why our company has grown to the extent that it has. So God bless everybody, and I look really forward to serving you up in the Missouri State Senate. I know I got big shoes to fill with hopefully replacing Rob, but I look forward to the challenge. Thank you so much. your program.
Okay, next we'll go to the representative, 151st District, Dennis Fowler. Are you the, after you speak, I think this over.
I'm going to do this a little bit different. I'm going to give you some reasons not to vote for me if you want them. My name is Dennis Fowler. Worked this area in law enforcement for 38 years in various positions. And I retired from detention center Friday. And, I've been up at the courthouse both days this week so far, but I've not been getting paid. If you're not going to vote for me, one of the reasons you shouldn't vote for me is that if you lack Obamacare, if you lack the possibility of the government being more involved in your medical treatment and having taxes raised to implement that kind of a program, you shouldn't vote for me. I intend to oppose any implementation of Obamacare in Missouri if I'm elected. I'd like to see it repealed and replaced with a better thought out program. And I think the greatest statement as to why that should be done is Nancy Pelosi's famous statement at this point that we have to approve it to see what it says. You know, that's kind of a pitiful statement from a legislator of her experience. Second reason not to vote for me is that you are in favor of pro-choice and approve abortion and the killing of an infant. I will not be approving that. I'll not vote for anything that violates my commitment to pro-life. Next thing, if you're in favor of any kind of gun control, if you're not in favor of the Second Amendment, then you should vote against me, because I am in favor of our Second Amendment rights. I have a bunch of guns, I'll tell you that right now. I'm a member of the NRA, and I'm proud to say that I've been a hunter and a fisherman all my life. The next program is the reason you shouldn't vote for me if you approve of the Environmental Protection Agency and its attempts to control our way of life down here. They're trying to get coal banned as a fuel source in southeast Missouri. If that happens and we have to change over to some other program or some other fuel in Missouri, our rates will go sky high. I'm a member of the board of directors of the SEMO Electric Cooperative, and that is a constant battle we face, keeping our rates low. And if we have to go away from coal, I assure you your rates will go up. I'll take any questions at this time.
What kind of work would you do to see that DNR regulations don't relax on us? They're about to choke us to death in places.
I understand that. You know, regulations on stuff around here are terrible. I don't have specifics for you as to what I would do, but I can assure you that I oppose regulations in most cases that's going to hinder any kind of farming operation of anything. We are regulated to death. Specifics I can't give you at this time. It depends on what comes up. But I assure you, I am not in favor of more regulations of us by the government under any circumstances. I'm going to tell you a war story too, since it seems like we've been getting. I've been in law enforcement a long time. If any of you have read the paper, the methamphetamine deal was real bad here several years ago. Still is to a degree. Up at Messler, there's a bunch of anhydrous tanks. They like to come up there and steal anhydrous. And I'll give you this note because the guy that I caught up there was a parolee released early from prison, which is one of my little pet peeves too. I'm driving up there, I'm in a red and silver Dodge pickup. I come up to the curb. I go up there every night back in 2003, 2004, every night. About 11 o'clock, I go up, there's a curve, I turn my bright lights on, I roll my windows down so I can smell the anhydrous. Here comes a guy running up out of the ditch. He's got a gallon cooler, he's got a t-shirt over it, and you see the vapors come up in his face, and he's kind of giving it this away from him. And any farmers that smell damn hydrous or had it on you know what we're talking about. He's trying to get away from the fumes. I stop in the middle of the road. He starts, I thought the race is on. I get my gun out. I'm not going to chase him, I'm just going to holler at him. I don't run. He comes right down, walking down the side of the road. Walks up close to the truck. I've got my gun on him all the way. My window's open. He comes up. If he's going to throw this stuff on me, I'm going to kill him right here in the middle of the highway. He just walks right past the window. He sets that cooler over the back of my truck. I tap the window. He backs up and he looks down at the bed of the truck. He looks at the bed and he sticks his face up in the window. Get in. He just opens the door, gets in, sits down, sticks out his hands. I handcuff him. He said, I've got batteries in this pocket and I've got my pills in this pocket. And I said, okay, you're under arrest for stealing anhydrous and attempt to manufacture methamphetamine. He said, by the way, there's a warrant for my arrest now. I'm an escapee I'm a parole violator, and there's a warrant for me now. So I have a special thing for people who get out on parole early. You know, it's just something to come up. The reason he did that was his buddy just went past down the road when he was coming over the railroad tracks. He saw him go south. He just figured the next car coming north would be him. The only problem is his buddy was driving a white F-150 pickup, and I'm in that red and silver Dodge, and he noticed that. I actually put that stuff in the back of my truck. Am I done? I appreciate your votes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler. Now, if business owner would like to come up and say a few words and also take questions, we'd be glad for you to come right in.
I didn't know this morning I was going to be down here to all you good people. But I'm Ryan Holder's mother, and he's a candidate for the representative, Democratic representative of District 151. And I didn't have anything prepared because I didn't know about 2-3 hours ago I was going to come down here. I think that Ryan would be a good representative of our district. He gets along with all people, bad people, good people. He's traveled with me a lot. I was a state officer in the Democrat ladies, and I've carried him around, toted him around since he was about 8 years old. And someone asked him, why do you want to have this office? He said, well, I don't know. I believe I could just make a difference. And I said, well, he's been reared to get along with these people, you know, and I think he really enjoys it. He enjoys older people, and he gets along with young people, and he sings and plays in his church, and he's been a leader, and he's been in the service. He's been to college a couple of years, and he takes all kinds of courses that he can to improve himself, getting along with people. And I just hope that all of you will be aware when you are voting that he is really a good-hearted person, and he is for the right thing to do in government, whether it's insurance or NRA, or he has his own guns, and we're farmers. He has a farm, and I have a farm, and he's reared on the farm, and he likes to hunt and fish, like Fallon does. And that's okay. Are there any questions? Yes.
What is your son's position on right to work?
He believes that that our government should not force people to work for, or that companies should not force people to work for lower wages than are average with all employers. And he is for entrepreneurship and doing a good job for all people. He doesn't want us to all have to work for really low wages when we're working for government projects. Now, if we're working with like little family units and businesses, they could not afford to pay higher wages, but he is for, if there's government projects, you know how much our senators and representatives in Congress are making. He believes that should be shared with the people that, like a person that stands out in the sun all day, should have a wage that is would not hinder him doing a good job.
That means he's against right to work?
Is he against right to work?
Yes.
Yes, yes. I worked in a company where we would get letters from representatives of Congress from other states wanting us to vote against the right to work. And he believes that, like I said, that if it's a government project, that they should be paid accordingly with all other states and their officials and worker and employees.
Mrs. Holder, why isn't Brian here tonight?
He had another commitment, and I hated for him to miss this, because it's always educational to come and be around and hear other people's views on local problems and achievements. Well, anyone else? I don't know that I could make a very good answer. He always has an answer, and he gets along well with people. And I feel like that he would make a great representative for our area. You done? You finished? You want to tell me something? Okay, thank you.
All right, next we have the circuit court judge, number 35, and we have the Honorable Steve Mitchell with us. Would you like to take the podium?
Let me apologize to everyone ahead of time. Judges are only allowed to be in politics when they happen to run for their own office. So I'm not very smooth in delivery. And I have prepared some remarks that, if you will indulge me. I am now the Stoddard County Associate Circuit Judge, running as a Democrat for the presiding circuit judgeship of Dunklin and Stoddard counties, the job which is now held by Judge Steve Sharp, who decided not to file again. And I appreciate the Farm Bureau offering the candidates the opportunity to have this forum. I appreciate all of you coming. The Mitchell and Mayer families have shared much in common in our community, school, and church over the years. During my campaign this year, many people have told me, Steve, I like both you and Rob, and I really don't like having to take sides. And I always suggest to them that it's not necessary to take sides. All you have to do is step into the voting booth on election day and Markey Valley. And I hope that you will still like both of us after the voting's all done. We are both lawyers, which is one of the qualifications to be a circuit judge. We both have a good deal of life experience. But what separates us is our professional experience after becoming lawyers. And that's not to say that either one's experience is better than the other's. They're just different. Naturally, I believe my own experience makes me a much better choice for circuit judge. And here's why. After law school, I practiced law and tried cases all over southeast Missouri for more than 20 years before being elected as associate circuit judge 16 years ago. In the last 16 years, In the last 16 years, I have presided over more than 25,000 cases in courts all over the state of Missouri, many civil and criminal jury trials, and even appeared and decided cases in our Court of Appeals by special assignment. By appointment of the Supreme Court the last 12 years, I have served as a planner and presenter to over 400 trial judges per year, all who attended our colleges. My opponent chose to spend the last 12 years building a career in politics, and he did a splendid job of that. But by the very nature of a career in politics, that limits the time that you have to spend in court. Preparation to serve as a circuit judge comes from many hours spent in the courtroom trying cases or as an associate judge. I have done both. A few days ago, I turned 65. Judges must retire at age 70, and I can serve as your judge for another 5 years. And I just wanted to say that I would appreciate your vote in this race. Thank you very much. Be glad to take any questions.
How long is this term?
The term is 6 years, of which I could serve 5.
What happened the other year?
Well, this happens frequently, believe it or not. Judges who are sitting apply for and are chosen to go to the Court of Appeals, thereby creating vacancies. We had a situation where, if you'll recall a few years ago, Judge Tony Heckemeyer decided as a circuit judge that he wanted to run for Congress, and he stepped down to do that. So there are numerous reasons why people do that. In my situation, the term would be so short until the election came for my replacement. I really don't know if the governor would even find a lawyer who would be willing to give up their law practice to step into the role of appointed circuit judgeship. It might be that it would work out like it did when Judge Sharp had his abdominal aneurysm and the associate judges just stepped in, because anytime a judge vacancy occurs, the appointment is only so long as it takes to have the next general election. I hope that answers your question.
Like the governor could appoint somebody to take your place.
He very well could, certainly, absolutely.
And so is that the reason Sharp's not running again, and he said he chose not to run?
You'd have to ask Judge Sharp why he decided not to run.
He's 70 years old.
Well, you'd have to ask him, Ms. Mayor. I don't know. I just do know that in mid-January, he sent a message around to the judges in the courts and others that I am not sure of, that he did not plan on filing again. You bet. Anybody else?
How do you feel about early parole for some of these people?
How do I feel about early parole for some of the people? That is the question. I don't like it, but you understand, this is a function of the Department of Corrections, not the judiciary. The way that works is that we judges sentence anyone who comes before us who deserves to get the book thrown at them, and does, are sent to the Department of Corrections. And unless their sentence falls into what the legislature has described, a mandatory time must be served, then it's up to the Department of Corrections how quickly they are released. And this is a function of the budget and the cost of the incarceration on people. Do judges like it? No, we don't like it. Once we sentence someone, we expect them to serve their sentence. We don't expect some bureaucrat to turn loose. Hope that answers your question. Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Richard. Honorable Rod Mayor, would you like to come forward?
First, let me say thank you to the Stoddard County Farm Bureau for hosting this forum, and certainly the Church of Christ for allowing them to use this facility. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. Many of you know that I grew up on a farm located just a little bit northwest of here, and that's pretty close to where I presently live with my wife of 34 years, Nancy. As I was growing up, my parents took me to church. My mother was very good to take me to church and taught me values that I hold to this day. Additionally, growing up on the farm taught me to work hard as we cared for livestock. We drove tractors and combines and worked long hours, so I'm not adverse to working long hours. Most of you also know that I worked at the radio station, worked over 12 years at Arvin Automotive, where a downturn in the economy caused a restructuring of management. And so I saw that as an opportunity to go back to school. So in January of 1992, with a wife and 3 sons, Jason, Dustin, and Daniel, I began my journey to complete my college education. After earning my bachelor's degree at Southeast Missouri State University, we moved to Blue Springs, Missouri, which was just a little bit east of Kansas City. Nancy taught school there at Blue Springs. The boys attended school there at Blue Springs Public Schools. And I went to law school at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and I became an attorney at the age of 40. I started my own law office when I came back to Dexter. Shortly after I came back, I ran my own law office for the past 13 years, practiced law for 15 years. And during that time, I've handled about 2,000 criminal and civil cases. And additionally, during that time, I've served the last 12 years in Jefferson City, spending time from January to May as a legislator, serving for 4 years in the House of Representatives. I've served 8 years as a state senator, and all during that time I continued to practice law here in Southeast Missouri. In the House of Representatives, I was honored to be named chairman of the Crime Prevention and Public Safety Committee. In the Senate, I chaired the Education Committees, the Appropriations Committee, and then the last 2 years, I was selected by the full Senate body, both Republican and Democrat, to be President Pro Tem of the Missouri Senate. And while serving in all those capacities as chairpersons, as Pro Tem of the Missouri Senate, I faced and dealt with many difficult decisions. And there was a diverse group of people that I worked with. As a legislator, I focused on a lot of criminal justice issues, and those issues dealt with fighting to make our communities safer. I helped pass bills to curb the methamphetamine epidemic. We certainly hadn't solved it, but we did harshen some penalties and stiffen some laws dealing with methamphetamine production. I also helped pass Missouri's Amber Alert system, Megan's Law, and the Concealed Carry Law. And just let me end by saying this, that I believe that every citizen who enters our courts deserves to be heard and treated with respect. They want their case handled fairly and in an impartial manner based on the law and the facts of the case. And if you elect me judge, those will be the principles that will guide me. I'm open for any questions. questions? Seeing none, let me say a few more things if I may. As you can see by my legislative work, I understand the importance of keeping our citizens safe and secure. I believe that I possess the values, the legal experience, and common sense necessary to serve as circuit judge. My record as a legislator in helping to pass strong anti-crime legislation, as I mentioned time and again, that it makes it clear that I believe in keeping you, our citizens, safe and secure. And I've proven that by helped pass several of these laws. And I've had my own law office for many years, managed the staff and budget, handled several criminal and civil cases, and furthermore, as chairman of Crime Prevention and Public Safety, is also the chairman of the Education Committee and chairman of Appropriations Committee, and being pro tem of the Missouri Senate. I want to tell you, and you all know this, that over the last 8 years, I've dealt with many, many difficult and tough issues, and I've dealt with a diverse group of people that I've treated fairly and with respect. And I think that experience has helped prepare me to be your next circuit judge. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, next we have Collector Treasurer, and we'll ask Carla Moore to speak first.
Thank you, Gilbert. And I know I speak for all the candidates to tell how much we appreciate the Stoddard County Farm Bureau and what it does for Stoddard County. I am Carla Knowles Moore, and I'm your Stoddard County Collector Treasurer. My office is responsible for collecting all monies that come into the Stoddard County government. That figure comes to over $19 million annually. We handle not only the taxes that are collected on an annual basis, which consist of personal, real estate, drainage, railroad utilities. We also handle a delinquent sales, land sale for delinquent taxes, and issue merchant's license. Since I have been the collector and treasurer, I have presided over the elimination of 7 township collectors, which, by the statute of Missouri Legislature, centralized Stoddard County tax collection into one office. That transaction was done smooth and without any problems. When building the Stoddard County Government Building, I requested the Stoddard County Commission to place an evening and weekend deposit box at the entrance of the building to help serve our citizens. I have mostly recently selected a company to develop and implement the first time payments to be made by credit card by the internet for tax collection. I could have done this sooner, but I've been waiting to sort through various vendors in order to find the most workable software to provide the service for Stoddard County. During the 2011 budget, the 2012 budget, and into the 2013 budget, my good stewardship of my budget, which was approved by the Stoddard County Commission, I will have been able to return to the Stoddard County Commission $122,256 to be used for the purchase of a geographic information systems for the assessor's office, $27,500 to be used in the purchase of update software for the recorder's office, and $8,607 to be used for the purchase of printers in various offices. These purchases would have been paid for out of the general revenue account had I not stepped forward to assist in their purchases. In my closing, I would like to thank you the opportunity to serve you as the Stoddard County Collector and Treasurer. I have worked hard to assemble a staff that is dedicated to meeting the needs of our citizens and to handle your money that is entrusted in me in a safe and responsible manner. Thank you. Is there any questions? Thank you.
you, Ms. Moore. Now, at this time, we have a candidate also, Mr. Mike Watkins.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to first thank the Farm Bureau for hosting this, and I am a member of the Farm Bureau, although I'm not a farmer nor have ever been involved with farming. And I don't say that to make you think I take lightly what farmers have to do, because our whole economy of this county is pretty well tied to the farming community. If the farmer is not doing good, then the rest of the business will not do good in our county. And so I commend you all for having this great organization that some of you are a part of. I'm a Republican candidate for the Stoddard County Collector Treasurer position, and you're kind of lucky tonight. I see they kind of put up a little note there to tell you how long you've got to go, and I found he's very polite. My wife, which I've also am a minister, and I fill in a lot of churches a lot of times, and a lot of times she'll go with me, and generally the last thing that she says before I go into the church is, when I don't preach too long. These people are not, they want to get out for lunch on time, and when I do run a little bit long, I can look over at her and she's squirming and she's looking at me, and this just was quite polite, considering what I have to go through with my wife. I would like to kind of tell you why I think I'm qualified to be the county collector and treasurer. I am a native, first of all, of Stoddard County, and I've lived here all my life, with the exception of the time that I had went to school, plus for a couple of years after school I worked for Drury Industries, which they have the Drury Inns and many other businesses as an accountant and an auditor for them. I then came back and participated in my family business, which is a funeral home here in Dexter and Puxico within Stoddard County. And basically my function turned out to be the accountant because of all the many things that had to be taken care of in that area, in that business. Then about 5 years ago, I left and went to work over at Poplar Bluff for the Regional Planning Commission. And it is a quasi-governmental organization. And what we do is we have 5 counties. Here in Stoddard County, we're part of the Southeast Missouri, the Boot Hill Planning Commission. And what the Planning Commission does is they are to promote the industrial well-being of the counties and to promote things that would be needed in the communities. And our job is to obtain grants and many times administer those grants. And my job within the organization is to help budget for those grants, to account for those grants, and if you're involved in any kind of governmental accounting, it's very specific on what you have to do. And I've got some good experience in governmental accounting and also budgeting accounting, so I believe that I have the experience to run the officer of Collector Treasurer. And do we have any questions? If not, I'll just kind of short closing comments. I can't remember what candidate was up here a while ago, but I heard the word or the letters D and R come up, and I'm very familiar with them because we also manage a solid waste management district, and we deal a lot with DNR. And they are one of the organizations that is the most difficult to deal with. I believe that we should, I can't make you promises that I can change them because I won't have that power as the collector and treasurer of Stoddard County. I can make you promises, but I can't promise that I can change anything. I can promise that I will collect and disperse the taxes in an efficient and fair way, that I will be the county collector and the treasurer for all Stoddard counties, whether you be a Republican, a Democrat, a Libertarian, or an Independent. And I thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins. All right, as we move along, we're going to move to 2nd District Commissioner. Would Al Bacon like to speak first?
I'm Al Bank, candidate for Stoddard County Commissioner, District 2. I attended school in the Dexter area. I graduated from high school in 1952. If I have to leave here, it's because I still like you, but I'm developing a big pain in my head, and they checked my head and they said they couldn't find nothing up there, so I don't know what it is. In 1951, I joined the Missouri National Guard. I served 34 years. I attained the rank of Sergeant First Class, and when I was discharged, I was in the food service business. I was everybody's friend, you know how the mess sergeant is. I worked at the International Shoe Company in Dexter, and also worked at Stoddard Frozen Food. Later became the owner, and I stayed there 40 years. I was elected president of the Missouri Meat Processors Association for 2 years. While at the Stoddard Frozen Food Center, I decided to join the Dexter Fire Department. I spent 48 years of service to the Dexter Fire Department and retired as chief. I still get choked up about leaving the fire department. While as fire chief, we bought 2 new stations. We built them. We bought 12 pieces of firefighting equipment. And I increased the fire people, personnel firefighters from 12 to 30. I caused the ISO rating to be lowered from Class 8 to Class 4, which means cheaper insurance for us all. I was the first fire chief of any department in southeast Missouri to get a Class 4. And that's what it is today. There's some bigger towns in southeast Missouri that goes up to 6 or 7. Got to remember, the lower the number, the better it is. I worked with other fire chiefs to form mutual aid programs to help one another in case of a big disaster. And we have provided mutual aid to just about every city in southeast Missouri. But in turn, we could depend on them to come to Dexter. I was instrumental in forming in southeast Missouri some hazmat teams. We established hazmat response teams with equipment in southeast Missouri, stationed at different locations. I started the storm spotting system that we connect combo with Butler County, because most storms come from the west. I made Dexter a storm-ready city by having in key locations weather radios and the group phone system. I'm now serving at Stoddard County Ambulance Board as Vice President, and I've held that position for 20 years. And while all this was going on, I married the best woman in the world, Betty Bacon. We're still married 57 years. I got 3 sons. Are there any questions?
Al, what kind of changes did you make in the Stoddard County Commission on handling repairs to this time?
Would you say that again?
What kind of changes would you make in the Stoddard County Commission if you're elected?
I don't have any major changes, but I have never saw anything operate that couldn't be done and improved a little. No questions?
The Stoddard County Extension Service is down to 1 specialist in this county now. We've had 2 retire on us. Will you fight to get both of those positions filled for this county?
Yes, I would. Anything else? I'll close by saying I want to be your commissioner for District 2. I know good times and I know not quite so good times. But if elected, I will, as needed, use skills and knowledge from the past service, military, a business owner, the fire department, board vice president, and president of a state organization
to allow me to get skills from what I've learned to make a good commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Banky. Ms. Gerald, come forward, please. Gerald Jervis.
I am the real Carol Gerald. I have been married 46 years to one of Stoddard County's finest, Junior Gerald. We have 2 wonderful children, Tom Gerald and Sissy Brown, proud grandparents of 6 beautiful grandchildren. Casey Blackwell, assistant manager now at the Hollister, and Kate Chance, Emily, and Peyton Ace, who are students of Dexter School. Dalton and Lily Brown, who reside in Jacksonville, Illinois. I first would like to give thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you, President Ms. Woolard and Mr. Woolard and the staff of Stoddard County Farm Bureau for hosting Meet the Candidate Forum, Church of Christ and staff for allowing us to use their fine facility, and welcome to all the friends and families who have come out to meet and greet us, the candidates. During my 4 years as Commissioner of District 2, I am very proud to say we have balanced our budget and it was done on time. There is not any deficit spending. We do not borrow from Peter to pay Paul. We are debt-free. The County Revenue Fund has a balance of $2,748,564.74. Our Capital Improvement Fund has a balance of $1,750,331.23. A total of $4,498,895.97. Our county revenue expenditures year to date is $2,779,562.37, 67% of our budget. We have taken in $535,069 more than we have paid out. Maybe we should go to DC and show them how it's done. I want to tell you that we are a blessed county, not only in our finances, but also everyone works well together. The office holders and the Sheriff's Department are very conservative in their spending. My belief is, united our county will stand, but divided we will fall. And I am very proud we are a united county. In the 4 years, as you know, we've been hit with 3 disasters, and from each one of these disasters we have learned the need to become more informed and prepared. And with the help of Mr. Kent Paulsgrove, our EMA director, he has really worked hard to see that we are prepared for any disaster that may happen in the future. We were all grieved to have lost a life during the tornado that went through Puxico. The Stoddard County Development Foundation owned the Career Learning Center, which had the medical billing and diesel classes. When they agreed to sell to Three Rivers Community College, that was a starting point in getting the college in Stoddard County. With the work of the commissioners, City of Dexter, Ms. Janet Coleman, President of the Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Julian Steiner, Ms. Sue Tippin, and the IDA Board, this was accomplished. We now have Three Rivers Community College in Stoddard County, which is a real plus for the students of Stoddard County and surrounding counties. I attend the Senate Bill 40 board meetings, and I'm happy to say everything is working smoothly for the ARC and the sheltered workshops. I've had the red flag, so I'm going to cut it off and ask you if you have any questions.
I have a question. You said you got some other access money. I want to address this to all the commissioners. This bridge at Rumbar, between Stoddard and Butler County, needs to be replaced, okay? Good bridge for the farmers down there and people who are coming into Stoddard County, okay? I hope they all get where they need some attention to it, okay?
I understand that, and I believe that Mr. Frank Sifford and I, along with a couple of gentlemen from Butler County and MoDOT, went out and looked at that bridge and to see what could be done. And we haven't heard anything yet from the inspection from MoDOT. We are well aware of that, sir. Understand that very much. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Will you continue to support extension and fight to get our specialists replaced?
Chris, you know that I will. I sit on that board, on the Missouri Extension Board, and I believe that is one of the assets that Stoddard County has. They work for the community, and they have a great 4-H program that all of the youth really enjoy, and we need something like that for our youth in Stoddard County. And I will definitely work as hard as I possibly can to get replacements for that board, and be happy to do so. Mr. Willard, can I have my closing now if nobody? Thank you. I just want to close with telling you that I met a gentleman the other day that told me if I did not stop agreeing with Mr. Sifford, he was not going to vote for me. And I replied that I did not feel that I agreed always with Mr. Sifford or Mr. Mathis. I am not afraid to cast a vote different than theirs. I'm an independent thinker and vote the way I feel best for the county. In fact, when it was voted on for a pay raise, I cast a nay vote. When I ran for this office 4 years ago, I promised to be a voice for the people and do my very best to serve you with honesty and fairness. We have very patriotic and hardworking citizens of this county. And with their trust and faith in me, I was so appreciative and blessed to become the Commissioner of District 2 in 2008. I've gained a lot of knowledge of Stoddard County government from working with Mr. Sifford and Mr. Mathis. I feel that Mr. Mathis will agree with me that Frank Sifford is a walking encyclopedia of Stoddard County. And I've requested he leave me his notes when he retires. I stand before you asking for your vote on November the 6th. I vow to work hard, to be fair, honest, and be a voice for you. Thank you, and may God bless you and bless this great United States of America and the great state of Missouri. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gerald. Is Jason Williams here? Okay, we're going to move to the 1st District Commissioner. And I'd like to see if Mr. Dale Moreland would like to speak first.
Good evening, folks. My name is Dale Moreland, and I'm a candidate for a District 1 Commissioner here in Stoddard County. My wife, Carol, is with me tonight. We've been married 33 years, and I live just about 3 miles north of town up on what I call North 1 Mile Road. It's County Road 413 in Castor Township. So I'm kind of the south end of the district, but and District 1 includes 5 of the 7 townships. In case those that you don't know it, it's Duck Creek, New Lisbon, Pike, Castor, and Richland. Those townships are in District 1. Like I said, I've been married to Carol for 33 years, and we have 2 adult sons, Justin and Kenneth. And I was employed with the Missouri State Highway Patrol for 32 years. That's how I wound up in Stoddard County in 1979. They sent me here, and this was my first assignment. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice Administration with a minor in Mass Communications from the University of Central Missouri at Warrensburg. I'm a member of First Baptist Church as well as a deacon there, and I served 3 years on the Bloomfield School Board at one time. I'm active in the Stoddard County Shop of the Hero program, And I'm also a volunteer for Stoddard County Emergency Management Agency. I started in that capacity. Right after I retired last year, I was asked to do that, and I said, sure, I'll be glad to help out. Unknowing to me a month later that we would have a flood, which I volunteered to work around the clock there for quite a while and help with that, and then also the tornado this year. So I served in that capacity as a volunteer. I spent 32 years with the Missouri State Highway Patrol. I work with the public on a daily basis. I know how to deal with people. 22 years of that time was spent as a supervisor, supervising people on a daily basis. I was responsible for those people in this zone and everything that they did. I've handled a lot of different situations and a lot of different people. The last 5 years I worked for the Highway Patrol, I was the Public Information and Education Officer for the patrol. I did all the public speaking. I dealt with the media on a daily basis for 13 counties in southeast Missouri, representing the Highway Patrol. We've chosen Stoddard County as our home. No, I'm not a lifelong resident here, but this is home. This is where I plan to stay. I retired and we're going to stay here. We raised our sons here. They both went to school at Bloomfield and graduated from Bloomfield. I care about the citizens of Stoddard County, every one of you. I was faithful in service to you with the Highway Patrol, and I will be faithful in service with you as your commissioner. I have a lot of experience in dealing with people and the resources of this county, and I'd certainly like to be your commissioner. Have any questions?
Dale, several years ago, we had a big issue with the 75 way in Stoddard County, which is going to be pretty good impression on property rights. What's your view on things like that coming along?
That's a tough question. I know there was a lot of discussion on that, and they're going to take away a lot of farm ground to put those highways in and different systems. And I think I'd be opposed to that. We need our farm ground. I'm going to stick with you farmers all the way. That's the basis of this county, and we need to keep it that way. Agriculture is what makes this county go.
Will you pledge to fight for extension to get our services filled and continue to fund that also?
You bet. Both my boys were in the 4-H rodeo program, ran by the University of Missouri Extension Service, both of them from ages 8 till 18. One of the best programs that's in southeast Missouri, and I'll be certainly for that. I thought someone had been appointed to replace Miss Green already. Is that, no? Okay. I thought that had happened. I heard a name at the commission meeting yesterday. Maybe not.
There will be a specialist from Cape County, I believe, to assist in running the
Okay.
program.
Any other questions? Okay, in closing, I would just like to say that I love to work with the public. That's been my whole life, working with the public, and I want to continue to do so. No one has asked me or pushed me into running for this position. I'm doing this because I want to. I announced some time ago when I retired from the Highway Patrol, this is what I wanted to do, and that's why I'm doing it. This is something I've chosen to do on my own. I sincerely appreciate your vote and your support on November 6th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. Mr. Danny Talkington, would you like to come forward?
I want to thank the Church of Christ for providing the facilities tonight and the Farm Bureau for hosting this forum. And also thank Tyler and YHC for recording and then broadcasting it to people that couldn't be here this evening. I was born in Stoddard County in 1948 on a farm west of Dexter. Grew up here, In 1965, graduated from high school and went to Arkansas State University, and then later transferred to Memphis State University. Graduated from there in 1970. In between those two dates, I married Sandra Tucker from Gray Ridge. We've been married 46 years. Have 2 children, 5 grandchildren. And grandchildren are 14 to 24 in range, so they're a little bit older than maybe some of you are aware of. 1970, graduated, started work for Eaton Corporation in Forest City, Arkansas, in the accounting area. And I spent several years as an accountant, general accountant, and controller, and then went into the area of production inventory control, materials management, and then into general management, and wound up being transferred to Los Angeles for 2 years as vice president of operations, and then moved on to another company as chief financial officer, and then later to another company as president. And we've lived in Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, and North Carolina, back to Missouri, to California, to Alabama, and back to Missouri this last time. So 28 years I spent in manufacturing and wholesale distribution, and the last 15 years I've been involved in farming and also in income tax preparation during the tax season and auditing work. We've been here, family farm since back in the 40s, and we continue to live in this area and continue to plan on staying here. We have no plans to move anywhere else, and we certainly would ask for your support in the coming election in November. At this time, open up for any questions.
Mr. Dalton, why should I vote for you?
Okay. I think in the jobs that I've had, where I've been in the accounting area, I've done budgets analyst, where we prepared the budgets for the company that I work for, did the analysis of how are they performing on that budget, are they going over, are they staying within budget, and then later got into the preparation for profit plans, where we're going to get the money to run the business, where our expenses are going to go, and supervising from the standpoint of how much money is allocated to expenses in departments. We did not go and say, well, last year I spent X number of dollars, I want to add 10% to it for the coming year. We went on a budget based on 0. I don't care what you spent last year, here's what we anticipate happening this year. What do you have to spend in order to meet those sales obligations or those sales goals? And so we started at a 0 base and built the cost up from there. Not an automatic, well, take last year's and add 10%. I've had to meet payrolls. I've had to be able to work with unions. I've had to be able to work with non-union operations, and we've never really had a problem one way or the other with those. We've been able to work with both of them. I prefer the non-union group to work with because it's a little easier, and you're able to have some disciplinary action with people that the union sometimes protects. And I've also been involved in being a trustee for Freed-Hardeman University for the last 19 years, serving as chairman of the finance committee for 8 years, served 3 years as assistant secretary to the board of trustees, and then secretary for 3 years, and currently serve as a member of the finance committee, the investment committee, and also the audit committee. And working with Freed-Hardeman, we do fund accounting there, and just like the commissioners have to deal with the different funds in the departments and running the county, so I've had experience doing that. Any other questions?
Your current commissioner here tonight that speaks of excess money. In my opinion, you need to spend some of that money to better Stoddard County, okay? What's your opinion on that, okay?
Well, you spend money where it's needed. You don't just spend money because you got it.
Well, I know if you spend it where you need it.
Yeah.
A lot of places they need it too.
And if it's needed, I mean, there's capital investment money that's there. You also have to not spend all of your money at one time, just like you don't do it personally. You don't go blow all of your money because you got it in the checking account today, but you spend on what you need.
But it sounds like she's got an excessive amount of money on hand, you know, where it's, I'm getting that more, you know, there's lots of things Stoddard County needs to be done, you know.
Okay?
I think you need to look into that further, okay?
Okay. Yeah. You elect me, I'll go up there and look into it for you. Other questions? You'll come see me, huh? All right. Yeah,
Do you
please.
support the Stoddard County Extension Service and fight to get our positions filled?
Yes, I will. That is a tremendous impact on the kids in the county and for the county as well. And we should support that. And we should try to get those positions filled. Other questions? Okay, in closing, my 28 years in manufacturing, holding various management positions, put me where I was generating the income off of that business and matching the revenue with the expenses. And we were not able just to go out and say, we're going to increase the price of our product in order to meet our over expenditures. We didn't work that way. We had competition, so that we could not just go out and randomly raise our price. We had to do cost control. And it's the same way in the county. If you don't control your cost, you're going to start going into deficit spending. They haven't done that. But your options is to control your cost or raise your income through increases in taxes. And you don't want the increases in taxes, so you control the cost. And that's going to be a major thrust that I have if you elect me, is the cost control. Is that telling me I'm out of time? Okay. Appreciate your consideration for your vote, and if you elect me, I'll do everything I can to see that the county stays in good financial shape, and that we do the things that need to be done in the county also. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tarkington. At this time, we have Carl Hefner here. I don't believe he has an opponent, but he may want to speak to us a moment.
Thank you. Thank you, Farm Bureau, and it's good to see each and every one of you all here tonight. My wife Rena and I, we have lived in Stoddard County our whole life. We're lifelong residents. We have 3 children, 6 grandchildren. I've been your sheriff for in my 8th year. I've been with the Stoddard County Sheriff's Office for the past 20 years. I feel that the Sheriff's Office has an excellent working relationship with all the other county offices, a good working relationship with the county commissioners. We work off of the budget like all the offices do. I've been fortunate enough, my tenure as sheriff, that we have always came in under budget. I thank you, the citizens of Stoddard County, for your support. And I want your continued support, because without you all supporting us, we can do nothing. We work very hard on the drug problem, the methamphetamine problem, the prescription drug problem. Of course, you know, drugs is what causes all this other stuff to happen, like we're stealing and burglaries and things of that nature. I think last year we processed in around 4,000 people through our old jail out there. We've had prosecutions and a lot of people to the Department of Corrections. We work real good with the judicial system also. I thank you for your support. I hope I have your continued support. Our job's pretty tough at times, and so is everybody else's. So thank you very much. God bless you. God bless America. Anyone have any questions?
less of a question, more of a statement. Doing the right thing is not always an easy thing. And regardless of party affiliation, you give credit where credit's due. And I like these folks and everyone watching on YFC, how much I appreciate my daughter will be growing up in a county that has a sheriff that is proactive against the synthetic drug epidemic, and that you're a pioneer, and I appreciate your courage and protecting our children. Thank you very much. We have over 100 registered sex offenders in Stoddard County. We make it a priority that we know where each and every one of those sex offenders live, where they work, what they drive, and make sure that they do come in when they're supposed to come in and register. If they don't, we're out looking for them, because what price can we put on our children to protect our children? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hefner. At this time, I would like to say thank you to Jody Lemon and Pam Lane. If you all have something you want to say, you're welcome to have 2 or 3 minutes. And also our recorder of deeds, Kay Aswell, is here with us. But most of all, I can sincerely tell you and appreciate the professionalism that these candidates have had. I mean, there's been no bickering or anything like presidential, and this is what we need, is unity in our United States. And does anyone else want to speak or say something? If not,
Yes.
yes.
I do. I do want to say that Ryan is for the public schools, and he supports them, and he is for Social Security, and he is for teachers' retirement. There's some people are trying to dispose of. And I did want to add that, and I think we'll give you a chance to do that. And also, he works on the highway department, and he inspects bridges when they're building. He's done a lot of work with bridges, the Cape Bridge,
Okay, thank you, Ms. Holder, for those comments. At this time, I'm sure we have some cookies. The women worked hard to try to give somebody a sweet taste when they leave here. So feel welcome to visit around. Thank you all for coming.